All right, everybody, let's continue on in Corinthians, First Corinthians chapter 9, 7 through 15. What soldier has to pay his own expenses? What farmer plants a vineyard and doesn't have the right to eat some of its fruit? What shepherd cares for a flock of sheep and isn't allowed to drink some of the milk? I'm expressing merely a human opinion, or does the law say the same thing? The law of Moses said you must muzzle an ox to keep it from eating as it treads out the grain. Was God thinking only about oxen when he said this? I would say absolutely not. Wasn't he actually speaking of us? Yes, it was written for us so that the one who plows and the one who threshes the grain might both expect to share of the harvest. Since we have planted a spiritual seed among you, aren't we entitled a harvest of physical food and drink? If you support others who preach to you, shouldn't we have an even greater right to be supported? But we have never used this right. We would rather put up with anything than be an obstacle to the good news about Christ. You know, tithing is old covenant, just so we understand that. I would never say, hey, y'all need to pay me 10% of what you make, because I could pretty much just quit working at that point. Only if 5 of y'all were giving me 10% of your pay, I think I'd be okay. And that's about how many watch these videos. It's so funny. How we been doing? 3, 8, 4, 10, 4, 7, 4, 7, 3, 2, 1, 1, 6, 3, 3, 5, 3, 4, 3, 5, 5, 4, 6, 12. I would say the majority of y'all are probably in playlists. And just depending on when you have time, you click the playlist. But that would mean y'all are in this playlist. So I guess that's not really real, huh? I don't know. I think some people just click just to hear my voice, see what I'm sounding like, track me a little bit, but they're not really listening to the Bible studies. I think, I've said it before, who I think I know is Greg, Vanessa, Valerie. Those three, I would say, are frequent flyers daily, which really inspires me. So I love y'all and thank y'all. But we have never used it. Okay. Don't you realize that those who work in the temple get their meals from the offerings brought to the temple? And those who serve at the altar get a share of the sacrificial offerings. In the same way, the Lord ordered that those who preach the good news should be supported by those who benefit from it. Yet, I have never used any of these rights, and I am not writing you to suggest that I want to start now. In fact, I would rather die than lose my right to boast about preaching without charge. He does not mean boast, I guarantee you. That's the watered down New Living, which says pride and boast and all that. When you go to the King James, but I have used none of these things, neither have I written these things, that I should be so done unto me. For it were better for me to die than that any man should make my glory void. Do you see the difference? My glorying void. What's his glorying? It's in Christ. Christ gives him the glory. He's not talking about man's glory. He's talking about his glorying in the Lord, of the Lord, by the Lord, that the Lord is glorifying him by having him teach the word. So I think y'all would understand that with no problem. But Paul's epistles are tough, but Corinthians are to me the hardest, verse to verse. I came near unto one of them that stood by me, Daniel said, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and make me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever and ever. That's after God wins. This is the four horses in the Great Tribulation through the Great, I should say, this begins at the four horses through the Great Tribulation, which I think you're down to just one at that point. But the Antichrist. But and then this is God taking over again. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. That's a fascinating verse. I'm going to highlight just that word and. Then I would know the truth of the four beasts, which was diverse from all the others. Oh, excuse me, the fourth beast. That's the Antichrist. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, the Antichrist, which is diverse, or which was diverse, or which is, because the dream was past tense, but what's coming is future tense. Is diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, the machines, bombs, metal, rockets, bombs. When I say rockets, I mean, of course, like nuclear bombs, tanks, bullets, and the technology. And his nails of brass, which devoured, break in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. They're going to kill 2 billion. It says 1/4 of the earth. They're not talking about landmass, folks. They're talking about population as we approach 8 billion. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes. This is the little horn of Daniel 7. That horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Trump. And I beheld the same horn, made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. Great tribulation. And again, God wins. Next verse. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Because the Lord cleanses the earth, and we have 1,000-year millennial reign with Jesus. The Lord cleanses the earth through those 7 trumpets, 7 bold judgments. The wrath of God. The wrath, all those 7s are for cleansing, just like the church is going to be cleansed, because the church is divided into 7. And we know from 2 Kings 5:14, when the man was told to dip himself 7 times in the river Jordan, and his leprosy flesh became like a baby's flesh. That told us 7 is for cleansing. And it makes sense. It applies when you apply all of those 7s, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls. The church divided into 7 with 7 letters that the church is about to go through its cleansing in the story of the Great Tribulation and in Daniel. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. So the 3 previous beasts were during other times. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Oh, okay, not. Okay. So we'll go with the original. He's the 3rd out of 4. Yeah, he's the 4th of the 4. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them. I was kind of daydreaming when I read that, so I really shouldn't have. I don't think this is separate from the Antichrist. And he shall be diverse from the first. and he shall subdue 3 kings. Like, gotta be true and every man a liar. I'm just not sure how to put that together, and I don't think I ever have been. All right, love you very much. Ask questions anytime. That's what I'm here for.